Hello friends, my name is Irene. You haven't seen me in 6 months, or maybe you haven't seen each other in 6 months. Let's just say that 2024 was a really bad year for me. We have some health scares in our family, which ended up being almost nothing. It were just a scare. Two scares, but I got so anxious, and I think we can say depressed because of that I just wasn't in the mood to read or definitely to publish something to the internet. I think we can say that we are back, our family is back to the normal now. There are some drastic changes to my day-to-day life, but it's okay, and I just would like to tell you again about books I'm reading, because I'm reading again. In 2024 I read 52 books, I believe, or 54. I had a goal to read 70, so it's not like I completed my goal, but I think I had a pretty solid year with lots of good reads. I don't know how many books I have to share today. I do it quick, and I will do it just like announcing almost like awards for my books. I can't say that any of these books are new or unknown to the internet. They all are rather popular, but it's okay. I never had a goal with this channel to discover some new authors or something. It's just me talking about what I like and about my reading. So let's start with my favorite Agatha Christie this year. I am closer to an end of the Poirot series. I do not rush. I take it slowly, maybe one, sometimes two a month, sometimes a month without Agatha Christie. This was the best I've read this year. That's not like my favorite Agatha Christie, but it was my favorite this year. It's The Sad Cypress. I know lots of people do not like this book, but for lots of people it is their most favorite Agatha Christie. I'm somewhere in between. I think this is a pretty solid mystery, and the subject is rather heartwarming, and I like the characters in this book. I understood most of them and where they came from, their intentions, their motives. I liked how Poirot got involved in here and how he discovered the truth. This book starts with the murder trial, and the woman who is into the trial for murder, she never said that she didn't do it. But Poirot was asked to help her, and he decided to discover the truth. And of course, he did it, as always. I like this book. I thought it was inventive. It was interesting. I like the characters. And it was my favorite Agatha Christie. Speaking about my favorite mystery, which wasn't Agatha Christie, it was The Faithful Place by Tana French. I talked about this series a lot on my channel. I like Tana French. It is hard to read sometimes because she dives deep into psychology, and it can be a very dark place to dive deep into. It can be a very dark place to dive into. Here it is even more challenging because this is a mystery about the family, about family relationships, about strings that connect family members, estranged and not estranged. And also this is a book about the past, the first love, the misery that can follow you through the life and guide you to your decisions. And I like this book a lot. I can't stop thinking about it. I do think this is much better than any literary fiction you just can pick up in the store. It takes deeper understanding of the characters, and the mystery holds the plot together. It doesn't, it's not random. The interactions aren't random. They have purpose in it, and with this purpose we discover more about people talking than just discussing their lives. I read it as an audiobook. I really like Irish accent and how this book was read, but also it's just a great book. So yeah, highly recommend Anne French. This is the third of her Dublin Squad mystery department. I also read The Searcher by this author this year. This is another series by her. I like Dublin Mystery Squad much better. From here, let's go to the classics, because this year I read 3 rather major classics, and 2 of them are one of my favorite books of the year. I've read David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I liked it but didn't love it. I forgot how funny Dickens can be, and sometimes it was more cruel than funny for me, though I thought that author intentions were to be funny. So it just a little bit estranged me from Dickens. Also, I've read Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I like this book very much. It's more domestic, heartwarming characters. Almost all of them are very sweet and endearing, and you understand them even if their motives are questionable. I like the family dynamic. I like the main protagonist. I really like this book. This is like one of my favorites of the year. But the book I want to talk about is also a classic. It's a classic mystery. I haven't known about this at all. I will tell why I read this book in another video. But this is the Leavenworth case by Anne Catherine Green. This book was published 9 years before Sherlock Holmes. This is American author and American mystery. I haven't heard about it before. Maybe it is very famous, but it was something new for me. This is a story about, our protagonist is young lawyer who was summoned to the death of their very old client, and the death is rather mysterious. And there were 2 adopted daughters that may or may not be involved in the murder. And our lawyer had a big interest in one of them, became interested in one of them, and wanted to protect her from hanging, maybe. He began his own exploration of this case, and also he kind of partnered, kind of befriended the police detective who is helping, who is in this case. I do think this is really interesting book. I liked characters a lot. It was high intrigue, it was rather fast-paced. The mystery inside of the mystery was really nice. So the motives of the girls were unknown. They definitely had a mystery, but you don't know what it is up to almost the end of the book. Yeah, I liked almost everything about this book. Of course, it was a little bit, nostalgically cheesy at the end, like all Victorian literature, especially by women. But I still think this is a great mystery novel, which I haven't heard about. And I really like the detective. He was strange, quirky. He has his, he was as exotic as Poirot, as strange as Sherlock Holmes. This is something about, geniuses that can't be like ordinary people. They have to be quirky. I really liked it. Yeah, I highly recommend. This is as one of the, I think, Victorian time, but it's American book, so I don't know, does it count for October or not? I liked it very much. From here, let's go to the my new favorite author. My new favorite author is Shirley Jackson. I'm really sorry about this. I'm buying all my books secondhand, and things happen with old books. I've read 2 Shirley Jackson novels. This is The Haunting of Hill House, and also I've read We Always Lived in the Castle. We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I like The Haunting of Hill House much more, but both books I gave 5 stars. The Haunting of Hill House, for me, felt like Agatha Christie writing a horror. their characters, the depiction of characters, their psychology, their types are all the same that you can find in any Agatha Christie novels. It can be a murder in there, and then it will be and there that were none. These books are very similar in vibes, but there is no murder. There is only hauntings. There are like ghosts presence. There is presence in the house, so we haven't seen any ghosts, but there are cold spots, there are strange sounds, there is like all this kind of stuff. Also, we have a unreliable narrator here. We don't know if all it is in her head or is it happening in real life. Also, as all the characters who were gathered at this house have like psychic abilities, we don't know who causes these things. Is it the house, as book kind of says, or it is someone from the people who are in this house now? I really liked it. I liked everything from beginning to the end. I really think, I liked both of books, and yeah, this is my maybe new favorite kind of author. Also, I wasn't scared at all. So I think that's interesting for horror. Both times I wasn't scared. I was just thrilled. And I didn't expect that. I thought there will be more like gory things in here. I do think this is a great literature and I liked it very much. The best audiobook I've read this year was strange for me. This is Daisy Johnson The Six. I just picked it from the library as an audiobook because nothing else was there and I needed audiobook ASAP. Everyone knows what it is. I actually really like few novels by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one has to be my favorite. This is a story of fictional rock band in 70s, who the rock band named The Six, who began to work and make songs and albums with a singer who is called Daisy Jones, about clash of their personalities, about the history. There are a few love stories in here, cultural references inside this book of that time. This book reminded me how much I like rock music, how much lively and interesting it is, how deep it can be. Also, this book is told in like interviews, like documentary series, when all the people involved talk about their experiences chronologically. And I think it was a really great audiobook. It has a full cast and all of them were doing their job full-heartedly. I like this book. I like it more than TV series. I watched TV series after reading this, and I highly recommend to everyone who likes historical fiction or just, literary fiction. I've read three books of Neapolitan Quartet by Elena Ferrante this year. So first one being My Brilliant Friend, The Story of a New Name, the second one, and Those Who Stay and Those Who Live and Those Who Stay Behind, the third one. I liked this the most. Also, My Brilliant Friend was a reread for me, so I don't want to put it in my favorite books of the year. What I liked about Neapolitan Quartet is, the characters are great. The writing is very good. I really liked the sense of place and time in these books. I think it done brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. Sorry, my language. The first book is, what I like about this quartet, that every book is very different in genre. It is a prolonged story, so each other book starts where last one ends. But the focus of the story is very different in each book, and it became different genre. So first is definitely coming of age story, young adult, something like that, about childhood of girls and let's say adolescents when they grew up in this very poor neighborhood in Napoli. This book is more like a romance novel, but I like this book the most because I thought that it was the most complex in terms of things going on. And I do think that 20s is that kind of age when you are very young, but also you need to choose your path, and you making mistakes during this time is crucial for how your life will evolve later. So I like this book of how complex it was, how different girls' lives became, and how it changed during the period of this book. Third book is more a political novel about unions, about communists, about different things happening with workers, and about different movements and everything like that. And it is like bigger focus than everyday life, which this book like kind of go deep into psychology of people, and I like this kind of stuff much more. So yeah, highly recommend Neapolitan Quartet as a whole. My favorite non-fiction book of the year was The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs, A New History of a Lost World by Steve Brissetti. I've read this book as an audiobook and also a little bit as a physical book on my road trip to Texas. We went in April to see solar eclipse, and we were there in different paleontology museums, and we went to see dinosaurs, footprints in the river, and everything like that. So dinosaurs were like a focus of this trip, or one of the main focuses. So I just liked reading it in the moment. What I didn't expect of this book, that it is not so much of dinosaurs, or maybe half of it like is about dinosaurs, and half of it was about paleontology like a science, and paleontologist like a profession. And I very much like when people talk about their work and they're being really enthusiastic about it. They like their job, they enjoy it, and they give you this enthusiasm about it. This is a book like that. So author is really enjoying his type of work. There are stories about digging something, there are stories about different expeditions and what they find and how exciting it was and how hard it was during the expeditions, and relationships between colleagues and everything in between. I do think this is a great book if you are interested in dinosaurs, or if you are not, but you are interested in other professions and to understand how people do it, why they are doing stuff, and everything in between. I really enjoyed this book. I do want to read the second one. There is The Rise and Fall of the Mammals by the same author. I will read it this year, I think. Yeah, this was my favorite nonfiction this year. Then let's name it a book that stand up to the hype. Can we tell this? I've read Donna Tartt, The Secret History this year, and this is a wonderful, absolutely amazing book. You can say that this is a mystery, maybe not the mystery, but mystery thriller, let's say like that. But also I think this is so much the mystery as Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky is the mystery. This is a very deep psychological exploration of group of people, their dynamic, and also their understanding of the mistakes and how they want to cover it, and how different people approach their mistakes differently. This is about a group of students in very like posh New England college. This group of students were working with this one professor. They were excluded from other college students, and I do think this is important because when you hear this is a story about the college students, you think about different dynamic. But this is just few people spending a lot of time together and discussing philosophical and historical references together. Very much not everyday life situation. And there is a boy who is our main protagonist, who is much poorer than most of them, who has different background, but who also this sense of wanted to belong, then belonging, and then understanding what's inside the group is very interesting and greatly discovered and explored in this book. I liked it. I think it stands up for the hype. I truly think this is a new classic, and this is the book that our time will be remembered by. And yeah, you know that this is the start of the dark academia. It's not that dark academia that you think about. It's not like gothic vampires or something like that. It's very different kind of book, very intellectual, and yeah, I think it stands up for the hype. I liked it very much. Talking about dark. This is my favorite young adult read of the year. This is The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud. This is the first from Lockwood & Co series. I really want to read more books from this series this year. This is like alternative history London, where ghosts are real and they are harming people, and there are a lot of ghosts and they are dangerous. And only kids can see them. So there are these companies with kids workers who fought ghosts. And our main protagonist is Lucy Carlyle, who got involved in the company called Lockwood & Co. There are only two other kids in this company, Anthony Lockwood and George. And so these three kids, it's like a mystery thriller, because they not only are fighting the ghost, they need to understand why the ghost is here, what was the mystery of its death, and how they can help them to get this mystery resolved. So, for example, the murderer has to be found, or the cause of death has to be found, something like that. It is kind of scary, but not really scary. Like, it is scary, but, you know, kids level scary. I liked it very much. I thought it was sometimes funny, sometimes rather deep, never dull. And yeah, I think it was a great book. These are my favorite mysteries, cozy mysteries of the year. This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. I think it can be called a romantasy, but also romantic involvement is not the main part of the plot. It sometimes moves the plot, but definitely not the main focus. Emily Wilde is a dreadologist. She is a scientist who is exploring and studying fays. And they are fays from folklore. So not only high fays, but it is also that, but also small magical creatures that can help you if you know, like all from the fairy tales. And the first book takes place on her expedition to one of the northern European kind of, it's not Europe, it's alternative Europe, kind of European countries. And it is very cozy in sense of there is very cold and mysterious and dark outside. Also, she has this very enigmatic colleague that had a mystery, and this mystery is discovered in the middle of first book, so I will not dive deep into it. But they're helping each other a lot. They have like expedition together, let's say. I do think these are one of the best fantasy books I have read. If it is a romantasy, then it is a clean romantasy. So there is no, in first book, there are no sex and even kissing involved. In second book, there is something behind the closed doors, and it just goes to the dark, and you understand that something is happening. But that's it. I don't know about the third book. It came in a few days. It will come in a few days in February. Yeah, I highly recommend the series. This is one of my most beloved series this year, definitely. Two books that I do not have here, and I will just talk about them. First one is also fantasy. It is Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I don't want to promote Neil Gaiman on this channel because I was horrified by this news, but Terry Pratchett is still one of my favorite authors of all time, and I think that this book was interesting, intellectual, and hilarious. It was very cleverly done. I do not know Bible well, so I think lots of things got lost on me, but what I understood make me proud of the authors. I really liked and enjoyed this book very much. I think that you can see how these two types of storytelling and humor combined in something very interesting and unusual. And the second book is also kind of a fantasy, but I think it's more literary fiction. It's The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. Kazuo Ishiguro is this Nobel Prize winner literary fiction author who lives in England. Here he is telling the story that takes place kind of in Anglo-Saxon England. I do think somewhere near King Arthur stories. It is very dark and gloomy, and there is this fog that makes people forget things. So memory of all the people is very, very short. They cannot remember what happened last week and definitely before that. And our main protagonists are this very elder couple. They began to remember they have a son who went to live to another village. So they go on this travel to find him because they are very, very miserable. And this is a world where there are dragons and ogres and strange encounters, but it's all very allegorical. It's more a fable than a fantasy, definitely, and it is about memory and about the reality and our memories, which is more important, and how they combine or collapse into each other. It's important what have happened in our life before, or only our memory and our attitude toward this memory is important. Can we live without our memories? Will it make our lives easier or more complex? And everything in between. I do think this is it's a hard to read book. It's very melancholy. It's very slow. But I do think it's a great read and important read, and there are a lot of things to talk about. My favorite read of the year is Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I know for many people it is their favorite audiobook because it is read by Meryl Streep. And yes, she is a wonderful actress. And yes, the audiobook is great. But also I liked reading this book myself more than listening to an audiobook, because my interpretation of the story and Meryl Streep's interpretation of the story are rather different. For me, it was much more slow, much more melancholic, much more deep than her interpretation of the character. The book takes place during COVID-19 pandemic, where three daughters are stuck with their parents at the farm. And during the day, mom began to tell the story of her youth, when she was a rather famous actress, first theater then Hollywood actress, who worked with this brilliant another actor who is almost like Clark Gable. So he was the star. He later became a star of golden era of Hollywood, and they had an affair, and it's all about her life as an actress and her affair. But also, this is the plot, you know? But this book is not about the plot. It's a book about how we remember our youth, how our decisions command the direction of our lives. This is a book about marriage, about what it is a happy marriage and a happy motherhood, why family is important, and and about the decisions of our youth. I do believe this is one of the best books I've read in my whole life. I really, really liked it. I like Dutch House by the same author, but this one I liked much, much more. This is very close to my understanding of life, and I felt something when I read this book. And also it was rather entertaining and interesting to read. And this book has a good, again, sense of place and time, and it is beautiful. It is a beautiful and wonderful book. I haven't been here for a while, but I really hope that you enjoy this video, and tell me about your favorite books of 2024, or maybe we have one of the same favorite books and you can tell me something about it. And also, I really hope to see you in another video very soon, and I want to talk about my plans for 2025. I want them to be much more structured than they were previous year, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day. See you soon. Bye.